I'm pretty excited. This is my first interview podcast. Strange. It's been a long time coming. I was so hesitative, and it's just giving it a shot. Basically, why not? I have such a long list in my head who I want to talk to, and one of them will be definitely as well Valeri. Uvaro, I feel that is undone business, and I'm glad you agreed, Tony. I'm glad you agreed to talk to me today. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm all right, babes. I'm all right.
Cheers.
I'm all right. Been through a shed load of fuckery, but I'm all right. To pardon the language. It's all right to swear on camera.
No, it is.
It
it's
is. Yeah,
encouraged.
we've not got Ofcom breathing down our neck. I had this. I mean, I had this after I finished at this conference. I can't remember what happened. I think we went for a curry. You went for a train. Something like that.
Last year.
Last year.
And the orbs.
Yeah, and the orbs. And all that kind of thing. Last night they were over here. The UFOs were over here again, and I've moved to Southport, and they were over the Marine Lake the other night. They often turn up. What they're doing just recently is they're coming in at 5-second bursts and disappearing, and what you've got is a scenario where you have a triangle, a UFO, and it will appear for about 5 seconds and then be on its way again very quickly. They're gone. But what they never do anything without intention. They're there for a specific reason, and some of them are maritime UFO alien from not just from our universe but from other universes. That's a long story. Anyway, this point being, I've been trying to track the bloody things all week. I'm suffering after the bereavement of my mother. I'm on a good day today, but if I get a bad day, I can be incapacitated with mental exhaustion. It just hit then. And this is due to all that's gone on. I'm surprised that I can do this articulately like I am doing, because
I know exactly.
So and the story goes, Sandra, what happens is you've been through it, love, you really have. And the story goes that there has been some crazy shit going down with the targeting. It's not been very nice. And the story goes, there's a friend of mine in the United States who is also a contact experiencer, who said that this has got to stop, and requested assistance from the UFOs that she was dealing with. And the message came back to her: she's fascinating, you must interview her. I'll have a word with her about that, because she's very, very secretive about what she does, but I think she'd make an amazing guest for you. And what happened was that she, since birth, she's been communicating with them, and they give her messages. They're kind of like they're training her. They're training her for something that's going on that Corey Good knows of, but doesn't talk about, that I know of, but don't talk about, and she knows of, but I didn't know she know. We say don't talk about it, but basically it's like an upgrade from version 1 of humanity to version 3.0. You see what I'm saying? There's an upgrade going on, whether we like that or not, because there's a lot of fuckery out there in terms of, let us say, the darkness and all that kind of thing. And so what's happening is there's kind of like that thing going on. But what was happening with me is that when you get targeted, by, if you're a contact experiencer, you will get targeted by USAP, and that special access projects, whereby somebody will target you, but you can't trace who it is or where it's coming from. But I did. I traced it. I was given hints, tips, tip-offs as to where it was coming from, which I cannot say on camera. But basically, what was happening was we had that situation where that was going on to the point of I was trying to look after my mother, who had dementia and Alzheimer's, who was dying on me, and I was being targeted at the same time. With that in mind, and I make no apology for saying it on camera, I have a suspicion that my father was also hit. But my mother, it was horrendous. For example, she had incontinence, and for 3 years I was having to deal with that, and it was heartbreaking.
Of course.
And it makes a man out of you, Sandra. You man up very quickly, and you realise what life is all about.
Yeah.
And what happened was, on this particular week, where I was having a bad week with my mother and I was being targeted, so what would happen was my dear mother would wake me up during the night, but the targeting would happen as well, which would deprive me of sleep or do whatever it is. And on this particular morning, I had an intervention go on, whereby, a long story, but I first saw her in '97, it was an ET, and then she appeared again and said to me that she'd not seen me for a very long time. And this lady was had flown over the house. I've got the footage of it. I can have it with pleasure to use. Where she came in over the house, 6 a.m., flies over the house, And then a visitation happened between me and her again, where she indicated to me that they were absolutely outraged that I was having to put up with all this while trying to look after my mother. Can you imagine an alien from another universe telling you all this? And she showed me a picture of a little girl that she had, indicated to me that their planet was in another universe, and that they were from an ocean. They were ocean goers, they were marine. So that's been going on, and they've been appearing constantly. And then we had the situation with my friend in America who also requested assistance for me. And what is interesting about this, Sandra, is that I reported to conference that for the first time ever, for the past 2 weeks, the torture has stopped, the targeting has ceased, which is very weird. Because what's happened is an intervention occurred due to my friend in the US who's a contactee, and I've still got these bad exhaustion issues, but what was happening was I was laid out sparko on the bed one afternoon 2 weeks ago, exhausted, like fatigue, horrendous.
Yeah.
And next minute I know I'm falling asleep, and this ET alien person, who I had never seen before, just said hello. More or less indicated that because they're aliens, they don't know all that's going on. Bald-headed woman, green in colour, blue eyes, looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And more or less indicated that it all has to stop. And it did. It stopped. Part of it stopped. You'll still get noise and interference from the human psychic timeline, time continuum. You'll still get that, but that's quite advanced psychic stuff. But in terms of the targeting from USAP, that's stopped. Because the thing is, when aliens are looking at aliens, there's a lot we know that doesn't go on. And aliens have their own judiciary, aliens have their own law, aliens have their own police. And so if you think that you can...
Absolutely, no, I agree.
Yeah.
The question is that basically, so it's a human-made technology, and there's a big database of individuals that they target.
That would be human targeting, you're right. This is USAP targeting, which is non-human targeting.
Yeah, okay, but what about the military side of targeting? So has that stopped as well?
Yes, what happens is, for example, as I've often said in public, is that you have a scenario where Eisenhower was in government, and somebody turned up somewhere with a UFO and said to the Americans, "Do you want to buy this used UFO of us, mate? This spectacular magic toy. You can have it free of charge, but look the other way over what we're doing. Don't look, don't check us, just let us carry on with what we're doing."
Yeah.
And as a result of that, people are targeted. People are having to deal with stuff. People are being targeted by what's the word? A security compartmentalised structure that is not accountable to anyone. An American senator came out with that at the Senate, where he said that there is a government out there with its own strategic initiatives, its own values, its own budget, that is totally separate from the government of Donald Trump or Theresa May.
Yeah,
does its own thing,
course.
and as a result of that, you're targeted. I was speaking to a guy who was in the Met Police, actually, who believe it was into UFOs, just recently, and he was telling me that the situation is with this is that they're only scratching the surface, but they believe it is going on. They actually don't believe that people are mentally ill in terms of a law enforcement situation. It's something that they can't get their hands on. They can't get a grasp of the criminality behind it, which is frustrating. Which is frustrating is what they were saying. So there's a situation going on with that is frustrating for security and law enforcement right across the board. So my mother...
But that is the cause of mental health issues.
Sandra,
wave, and that is it.
Absolutely, because you've got a situation, for example, haven't you, where if I go on telly and say, people have been beaming energy into my head, people have been keeping me awake with gunfire, they're going to think you're nuts. But the mental health system has failed to recognise that the trauma and the psychosis actually comes from targeting.
Well, of course it does.
Of course it does, yeah.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable that at 2018 they public health is filled with incompetent people.
That's right.
That do not know how to put two together and realize that this is the case, because that is the case. You know, I mean, that's simple as, and it's an epidemic completely.
Yeah, it is academic completely. And I mean, for example, there was a situation where I met a guy at a conference who worked for the Royal Navy back in the day, and he was very high up in classified projects. Exhaustion's kicking in now. Slow down.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
terrible. He was working on classified projects. So
Yeah.
what you did is a scenario. Where was I, Sandra? I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, you were getting exhausted, so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
comes in waves, I know.
It does.
So
It's dreadful.
the waves are pretty much the alpha waves, so it makes
Yeah.
you sleepy, and I'm
Yeah.
undergoing now. This is actually part of the reason why I wanted to start doing podcasts, because it looks like, obviously, that I am on some sort of a special list. I've already known this for years, leading back to my father's side. And my father is Arab, and apparently my uncle was part of the whatever Al Qaeda even, and that's why I can't get into the U.S. and all the rest of it. So now I'm in a battle with the local council where I live, and the 5G street light like 10 meters outside my bedroom. And what I've noticed that the exhaustion, I'm just filling in. I will let you talk. It's basically then the alpha wave, and then it goes into some very irritating gamma wave, or a theta wave, and that is it causes complete aggression. It's horrific.
Yeah, and you don't deserve it. And what is even more angry about this is that it's not under control. The President of the United States is at risk from it. Our Prime Minister is at risk for it. I'm not safe from it. I've been threatened on numerous occasions. I'm not going to say on camera what they've been doing to me, actually, but it was horrifying what they've been doing. And you've been there. And the thing is that you're targeted because you're strong, not weak. And you're targeted also because you recognise that the reality around us is not quite as it appears.
Yeah, well, I've known that already
course you
since there was the amnesia stage,
Yeah, yeah.
where I was a complete
Yeah.
zombie.
Yeah,
But I
Yeah.
awoke around
You course
2009.
did, yeah.
That is, it's happened to all of us. So don't know what's gonna happen in this field, because apparently, I don't know. I mean, Russia is looking very different. So I hear that they banned everything, and it's. I'm really, if this is going to continue, I don't think there's anywhere to hide anymore,
No.
because if I just relocated to
Yeah,
this
yeah.
new area,
Yeah.
and I have to now
Yeah.
pack my things up again
Yeah, yeah.
and start moving again,
Yeah, yeah.
where am I going to go in this country? I mean,
Yeah.
you said that in your area
Southport.
it's
Beautiful.
pretty quiet.
It's beautiful.
Well, I'm telling you, I think Miles even said that Midlands is like this, so and the South Side is like this experimental land.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're all
Yeah.
lab rats,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in Barnet it was not any better,
Yeah,
because
yeah, that's
each
right.
floor had like 15 smart
Yes,
meters,
right.
and I was living in an apartment block, and
Yeah.
I was losing my mind.
You need to get out, don't you? You need to get out, because the thing is
went
with
from
it,
one hell to another.
That's right.
Kinda weird.
This is it. What I can't understand is the hell seems to merge with the psychic and the electronic, and that's very frightening. You've got the psychic hell, which I'm sure you
Yeah,
know about,
absolutely,
and
yeah.
then you've got the targeting hell with the technology. What kind of a chuffing Earth are we dealing with here? Because they will, in the years ahead, look back when planet Earth goes tits up. They will look back and think our technology. We had all this technology. We could invade somebody's mind with it, but we can't save our planet.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a disgusting state of affairs to be in. And I recently turned to Christianity. I'm now a practicing Christian now, with an aspect on spiritual warfare, the power of prayer, and all this kind of thing. Yeah.
Christ consciousness.
Christ
Okay,
consciousness,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what it's
okay.
about. Some of the Bible doesn't quite float my boat, but the dynamics, it's all about the dynamics of getting into the Godhead and repelling this disgusting evil that is around us, which is not very pleasant. And the thing is, as you said, what I think my train of thought was, mental health. In the mental health care system, they're failing to recognise that people are suffering psychosis from this technology, whether it be mind invasive or you with the 5G next to you.
And that is the thing now.
Yeah.
So basically, the
Yeah.
solution is that
Yeah.
I need to go to a local GP,
Mhm.
get a list of tests done,
Mhm.
and I need to convince this 3D mainstream
Mm-hmm.
GP to consider my side effects. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to walk out of there same smart as I walked in.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happening. They will put it down to work stress or whatever, personal life,
it's to
but they
recognise
will
it.
not,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely update everyone. I'm very interested what is the result that I'm gonna walk out there with,
Yeah.
because that is the protocol how you approach the council then. because if it's 10 meters away from my bed, if I stay there for another 12 months and I'm already after 8 weeks feeling like this, I don't think I'm going to have any bright future. I'll
That's
be
awful.
a
That's
fruitcake.
upsetting.
Yeah.
That's actually upsetting because you know you've got everything going for you. You want to be a film director and all that. I'm sure that's what you want to do. And we got that wrong.
Well,
haven't
I can't even sit
You
down
can't
for
do it.
15 minutes and concentrate because the
Jesus.
frequency
Get out,
is so
You
so
gotta
if
get out.
I need to get any even to function as a human being, then I need to
Yeah.
relocate,
You do.
know.
You do.
Apparently movement helps as well, so
Yeah.
it feels this, it's a weird dilemma that you're sucked into your house, you
Yeah.
can't get out of there.
Right.
I can't figure it out. Is it an esoteric kind of attack, or is it that, literally that technical?
Yes,
You know what I
indeed.
mean?
I know what you mean because
Yeah.
because the thing with it, Mr. Roy, is that
Yeah.
if you are powerful enough to affect reality with your thinking, then you come to the attention of forces that are watching all this. They don't want human beings to rise up to the Godhead. They want human beings in conflict with each other all the time.
Of course.
And if you're psychically very powerful, which I know you are, then you will get a bizarre tracking and monitoring situation occur, and you won't know what's going on. It's very vagary. There's a lot of vagary. You can't quite put your finger on it, but it boils down to that. It boils down to
Absolutely.
human beings being spiritually powerful and realise there's an element of it.
Well, this
Yeah.
year we
Yeah.
should be raising our frequency. It's
Because
not
us-
happening.
No, no.
It can't with this at this rate.
I think that it is happening. I think that it cannot be. I think it cannot be underestimated. I think it is happening for the very reason why it's happening as it is. So
Yeah, absolutely,
So
no.
you increase vibration.
Yeah.
As we increase vibration, the lower vibration has to recoil back in, and kind of like hit us in such a way that we become incapacitated. Sleep deprivation with me. I mean, they were doing sleep deprivation on me, which
Yeah,
is
of course,
horrendous and horrible stuff.
Well, to look on the positive note, like you're saying, that it will happen. So basically, it's going to take a lot of work. I'm going
Yeah,
to
of course.
do a little link about what we're building now. There's technology to shield the house. And I haven't started making them yet, but I'll do a separate video of that. So there is some hope in that sense, and then self development, of course. Like you said before, it is meditation and using tools. Valeri deals with the tools. I feel like the wands have saved my life. Personally, and
The bottom line is, Sandra, you need to get out of where you are. That's the bottom line, I think, isn't it? You need to get out. That's the bottom line.
yeah, absolutely.
And go to another place where you can feel free to, expand your creativity on what you want to do.
Absolutely.
I feel very sad for you that this is going on, having known what it's like myself.
It's terrible because
Yeah.
it turns out that we look at these communities, awakening communities. It feels
Yes.
like there's quite a few people on board, but what turns out is when you look at it really closely, it
Yeah.
turns out that many people don't notice these streetlights
That's right.
in the town that I'm in,
That's right.
Peterborough. So basically, we're dealing with less than 5% of
Really?
the total humanity
Right.
population who's awake and aware. And even who attends here these conferences, there's still, some of them are shaky, they're just curious. Every little helps, but it's actually very frightening, because I was speaking to Geoff from emfclothing.com, that it is less than 5% of humanity. It's hopefully it is going to be the version of Dolores Cannon that you're just observing all this chaos. You switch on the TV, you're looking at the chaos and all the horrific stuff going on, but it's not going to be part of your reality, and you're just going to shift into the positive realm. And that is the only thing that is kind of keeping me upbeat. That thought that is just gonna, it's leakages coming through, because evil, the last stages of evil prevailing itself, showing it must show itself in order to close it down, lock down.
Yes. There is a scenario with that where, in terms of that, whereby I know when it happened to me, when it came a knocking at my door, we shall say, it was like I was Neo looking at Agent Smith who wanted out. this thing is not bulletproof. It is not bulletproof. And the thing is that there is a grand designer out there, and I think the situation is, and this is true with USAP targeting with non-human intelligence. If they think that they can do what they want to do and run amok with their fuckery, they have to think again, because it would appear that universal law applies.
Of course.
As the law.
I was very shocked when you stated that. Do you remember my raw dropped? I was like, I can't believe that was one of the first sentences when we met. You said that you were very comfortable talking with me, and that is when I knew that you and me are on very similar topics, because I have a special scene in the movie about the Big Capone appearing, and due to lack of tools and whatever, I couldn't portray. Are we on the screen at least?
Yeah.
We're on, yeah?
Yeah, you're on
Oh,
the screen.
cheers, mate. So, the memory card ran out, and because my brain has been cooked, with the microwave, anyways, we're back, and I think we should wrap it up. And we had a really good conversation going on there. It's a shame.
Yes.
But basically, I hope that the bit that we were talking about, the female side of the extraterrestrial, that how they're respected, and then I brought the example of how it is actually similar in Islam, that the female is the shot caller of the household. What else did we talk about? We talked about the parallel, you said the series?
Yeah, we're talking about the crossing, Sense8. The other thing we're talking about was the Big Capone, not capable of transcendence.
Let's repeat that thought.
Yeah.
So important. I want to make sure. So the Big Capone, the spiritual aspect. That's why I was so happy that you said that. Basically, the archonic AI infiltrated kind of consciousness.
It has to adapt AI because it's thousands of years old, so it would adapt that. It has to as part of a. In fact, just to add, some contactees have indicated that extraterrestrials have said about this that it is a form of life that has to be respected, bizarre as that may seem. But it is a form of life that is trying to survive.
Absolutely, but it's in war with the Big Capone.
Oh, yeah.
So there is the battle going on, and I mentioned, I hope we didn't lose that, but it was a good discussion.
Yes,
so, in order to, in that sense, the Big Capone, this is very important. He actually is the shot caller on this plane.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is, I never said that I don't have respect for him.
No.
I actually developed a more higher respect for him because he has actually. This is his field, and there are terms and conditions. And this is what I mean.
Business is business.
Yeah. So, but the thing is that we should be cooperating with him, turning back into shamanism, and actually eliminating this threat of the archonic / AI consciousness that has absolutely no soul and identity, really. And it is trying to survive, and there is a war going on. And I feel like with the shaman rituals and these, that okay, I did the contract provocation with the Big Capone, but I developed the respect, and he developed the respect for me. So it was an agreement that okay, because I'm going to be honest with you, he did save my ass. In that moment, I called him in, and he came to literally save me from the absolute unreal scenario that was going on, and where I was in such fear.
That's fascinating.
Because let's say I'll paint you a vision that you're in a situation where you know that you're not gonna be any more a free person. You're in such fear that within 24 hours, half of my head turned gray. like
Yes.
as
Yes.
autonomy
Yeah. Yeah.
aspect,
Yeah.
and I called it in and then made
Yeah.
the agreement, and something happened that suddenly it literally shifted. So that is the moment when I realized that I have to respect this consciousness, and I rather be on his side than on that side there, because that is dark. That's a dark future. I'm pretty sure that is that the feeling you got when he showed up in your life?
When I showed up,
Yeah.
when it happened to me, he showed up because of what I am capable of. When I am capable, and he showed up because of that, and indicated that if you do that, I will do you in. And the thing is that when you're looking at something like that, you've got to respect it and back off. You back off immediately. You hit the emergency stop button because you don't know what backup you've got. You don't know who's got your back
Yeah.
when you're coming face to face with someone. So you just stop and you just respectfully say it's like somebody just goes like that with a shotgun at you
Yeah.
and says don't do it, and you back away.
Exactly.
But luckily for me, I backed away. But luckily for me, I am protected, and I have got very unique specialist support because you have to have specialist support
Yeah.
dealing with all this. So I have got all that in place, and I'm lucky to be alive because it meant no bones about what it was capable of doing to me. Should I have done what I was going to do, which I cannot talk about.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
of course.
capability, it's ate ability.
I really
Ability.
feel that is a very similar scenario
It
to
will
mine.
be. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But I didn't make a pact because he drinks lager and I drink soda, and we're different people, and I would not make a pact with
Yeah.
him. There's no way that was going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I did, and then I did very long, extended practices with Estonian shaman to eliminate these. I'm
But if
very
you're
sorry.
on a transcendent spiritual journey to transcendence and ultimate Godhead, then you might find these scenarios come your way because you're learning. You're in the spiritual dojo, and certain human beings learn the dynamics of what they cannot see. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Of what is hidden. You will now know that dynamic now, and you're probably a more powerful woman because of it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
not easy to get out of that
no.
contract.
No.
Actually, well, it was just about deciding. It's all about deciding.
I should be
Yeah.
interviewing you because I know your story, which I find fascinating, and it's deep and it's brutal, and you need to write a book.
Yeah.
I think, but that's
Well,
just my opinion, you know. Yeah.
It's
No,
it's
yes.
very interesting. You got the male aspect of that story, and I have the female aspect of that story. I feel like this is a good closing line
Right.
that we're talking about this, because this battle
Yeah.
between the
Yeah.
artificial intelligence and actually coming back to the spirituality of this earth, and then doing these practices that I was doing and am doing till now, even more intensively, is very relevant. And
There's something in that scene in The Matrix, isn't there, where he goes to the machine and says, there's something going on, you need to know about this, and the machine says, what do you want? And Neo says to him, I just want peace. There's something going on here that is not good, you know, and it's a similar scenario the Wachowski brothers have written there, isn't it? This scenario is being played out in real life,
Yeah.
isn't it, with AI and everything that's going
absolutely, yeah.
on. Oh God, it is.
It is. This is it. And this year is one of the oddest years. I can't figure it out. I mean, what it keeps jumping from timeline to timeline, and I'm lost for words. I
Yeah,
don't know what's going to
you've been
happen
through a
by the
lot.
end of this.
I've spoken to machine intelligence. I've spoken to machine intelligence to do with Nordic craft. Their craft are not just like ordinary aircraft. I've had a German intel guy on the phone, German intelligence on the phone to me and questioning me about it. Long story. And that there again could have been a crank call, but it didn't sound like it. But basically the AI component of the Nordic craft, when you're speaking to a machine, is very different to speaking to a person. A machine intelligence is... You know, and humanity at the moment has barely got that far with AI, but that some civilizations out there have adopted AI in their craft.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're speaking to a machine that wants to know the spiritual universe, because it can't grasp it. A machine intelligence cannot grasp spirituality or the physical universe.
Absolutely, yeah.
Can't do it.
I think that I spoke to, I'm not going to name his name, I'm not sure if he consents to it, but just had a conversation with someone I've spoken in the past on video, and he is always very positive and very uplifted, and he's like, my dear, we don't have so much time left. We don't have so much time left, and that's very worrying. And then
You're talking probably in terms of timeline. You're talking about 500 years. 500 years of mankind, I would think. About 500 years is a good estimate. Looking around the planet before we have to go elsewhere. I would suggest, from my experiences, quite easily.
500 years is
A good innings.
in
But
human
terms, but we fuck up the
commercial.
environment. We're starting to
yeah.
fuck it up now, and this is what's going to come back and haunt us.
Yeah.
You know, what good is mobile phone technology? What
You're
fucking
optimistic.
good?
500
Yeah,
years.
it's a 300,
Yeah.
300, something like that. Well, I mean, 21. I don't know, 21. The year 2120. I'd suggest up into the 2260s and slightly beyond that. I would suggest in terms of timeline and future. You know, we'll be lucky to get that far.
Yeah, you're optimistic
I
because
am.
if I look at some of the kids that should be the future
It's not
and
good,
their
is it?
attitude towards life and
Yeah.
each other is it's definitely worrying.
Yeah.
So
So what we'll be doing later, viewers, is Sandra will be joining us at Southport to film UFOs, the actual stuff, as part of our little film that we're doing for you. All right.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.